Very warm welcome to the main interview segment of New Dawn on Ogun State Television. This morning we'll be discussing a price control mechanism. Price control refers to the ability of the government to set the prices of goods and services, either by prescribing price floor or price ceiling. And we'll recall that price control was introduced in the country by the military government in 1970s, but due to the liberalization of our economy, it became osseous. But in recent times, due to the surging inflation, this again has been brought to the fore, and this will form the crux of our discussion for the next 50 or 55 minutes. And we have in the studio two gentlemen. Yes, Honorable LUKMAN, ADELEYE, a minority leader of Ogun State House of Assembly. Welcome to the show, Honorable.
Thank you, my brother. Good
Yes.
morning.
Good morning. Thanks for coming. And also Mr. ANIMASUN, the Director of Advocacy, Consumer Protection and Advocacy Initiative, CPAI. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here with you once again.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah. And I'm being joined also by my co-presenter, Dominic Agbea. Dominic?
Yes, let me begin from you, Mr. ANIMASUN. Okay.
Just on Thursday, the federal
government actually gave traders in the country 1 month ultimatum, really, to crash prices of commodities. What do you make of this?
Well, let me say, rather wear two caps as regards this, as a consumer protection advocate and as a consumer myself. You're a consumer, he's a consumer, almost everybody is a consumer. Even producers are at a point in time
consumers.
They are consumers. But to a very high extent, it's a laudable move, but relatively speaking, you cannot put something on nothing. It's going to be a hard sell. It is what you produce, what you have, that you can easily control. I don't know how far the federal government or the FCCPC will have that capacity to say that marketers or sellers must sell things on a regulation basis. As a consumer, I would love it. And as a consumer protection advocate, it's an ideal that we stand for. But somehow it goes beyond this system that is about to be adopted by the government, because the government does not actually produce this. Perhaps if we are talking of products or items that government have leverage on in terms of deliveries and marketing for the people, perhaps that will be reasonably appreciated. But where you have independent marketers or salespeople that get things from independent producers, things that are not produced by the government, is going to be a very, very tough one, generally speaking. Look at petroleum, for instance. It can easily be controlled by government from the NNPC. No matter how liberalized NNPCL is as of today, the government still have inputs. That can be regulated, provided, for instance, that the refineries are working. Like we have 4 refineries, they are almost moribund. Dates of deliveries are being shifted every now and then. So it may be, even at that point, relatively hard for the government. If the government cannot force, for instance, Dangote refineries, who is about setting out with the petroleum products, PMS in particular, the government cannot force Dangote to say, this is what they are going to sell your product. Bearing in mind that the issue of crude is there, the international crude import. Yes, now the NNPC has agreed to supply Dangote crude, but there are other variables involved that the final production may not easily be controlled in terms of sales figure or the amount to be placed on it by the government, because other factors will have to be considered. But if it were to be NNPC itself, perhaps the government can say, this is how much you can sell it. Like I told you, I'm wearing two caps, not only as a consumer advocate, but also as a consumer. For me, I'm very, very happy that the government is saying that, but the feasibility of it is another issue entirely.
Okay. Well, Honorable ADELEYE, I don't know if you share the same view.
Well, to a great extent, I share this view. It is a good thing that the federal government is looking into our price control system in the country. But like Mr. ANIMASUN said, you cannot put something on nothing. Yes, even when you look at I was so happy when I had the executive vice chairman of the FCCPC showing those words. I was expecting that there will be, I was expecting this pronouncement to be followed by some frameworks for some policy. You can never tell. But at the end of the day, I discovered that it was just a mere statement, because like he said, we are in a liberalized economy where we have free markets, and then beyond this, what is even the power of FCCPC? FCCPC is more of consumer protection and competition enhancement among the marketers, among the producers, service providers. Yes, have you forgotten that there was a time in this country we used to have a price control board? This law is still there. It was promulgated by military regime, and then as far as my brain can last me, I'm not sure this law has been repealed. Yes, we have FCCPC taking over virtually all the roles that price control board ought to be doing. But then there are limitations. I think what the executive vice chairman was trying to do is to wage war against anti-competition tendencies among our service providers and marketers, and then probably to fight against sharp practices. Yes, we can do that to some extent, but then we ask ourselves, if you apprehend a fuel dispenser, a filling station, for selling a liter of petrol, let's say for 1,000 per liter today, you will discover that that marketer will give you reasons. The marketer will tell you, oh, we are doing this because of the fluctuation and instability in our forex exchange rate. The person will tell you, oh, we are doing this because of the subsidy removal. This is the amount we bought, this is the landing cost, this is what we have incurred. At the end of the day, we might not really wedge the big stick on some of these people that engage in them sharp practices. So beyond...
But in recent times, we have seen the FCCPC raid some supermarkets and malls in Abuja. As a matter of fact, they also threatened to actually spread their tentacles to places like Lagos, Oyo, and some notable places in the country to ensure that they control prices of commodities.
There are a lot of, let me correct it, there are a lot of reasons. There are a lot of reasons FCCPC can raid malls. It is not we are talking about. The FCCPC is a big one. Apart from ensuring a reasonable unitary price control system, the main job is to protect the interest of the consumers. Maybe in terms of the selling of products that are injurious, that are injurious to the society, that are substandard, maybe shrinking of measuring tools, selling of expired products, are maybe not adhering to the laid down guidelines of marketing. There can be a lot of this, but what you are saying is that yes, FCCPC to a very few extent can control prices of goods and services, but we cannot build something on nothing. Now, currently we have the issue of you see, when you look at this, our marketers, many of our sellers, the moment there is an increase in pump price of petrol, you see them, they will effect price increase on their goods and services. And when you ask them, they'll tell you this is the reason. So I think going forward, government must first find a way of stabilizing or we must put a legislative framework on this price control system. It is not a matter of stabilizing, it is not a matter of, okay, now we have issued 1 month moratorium on all the marketers. So what is going to happen after this 1 month? Is it that we are going to enforce this price unit? What are we even proposing? Do we have a price range? Okay, for a bag of rice, if you sell a bag of rice beyond so amount, you see, there must be, it should go beyond this formalization.
You said there should be more legislative, efforts out of this, and you did say, it was introduced by the military government in the 1970s, and that law has not been repealed.
The law is absolute. There is an existing law.
So what other involvements?
Thank you. I think going forward, National Assembly should repeal the price control law that was made by the ministry and find a way of amending the FCCPC law. You must make it more robust to the extent that some of the items missing in FCCPC law can be taken from the price control law and then embedded in what we currently have as FCCPC. With that, the board or the commission will be empowered to go into enforcement. But as it is presently constituted, there is no portion or section of FCCPC law, has now to be corrected, that tends to enforce any marketer that does not adhere strictly to a range of price control system. There is no even price control system, because if there is price control system, there will be catalogs or a laydown that, for a bag of rice, this should be the range. For a liter of petrol, this should be the maximum you can go. Until we put all this in place, we are joking.
I know, Mr. Olan, let me quickly add more to the issue of the Abuja seizure, closure of supermarket or whatever. There were, some feelers that those supermarkets, I think they were of Chinese origin, were also trying to be discriminatory in allowing people of color to come into their stores. And that is not feasible in this environment. We have gone beyond the key situation of apartheid in South Africa, where some people have to take this door, some have to take that door, or some are not even allowed into the supermarket. That's number one. Then your pricing system, the tagging, cannot be done in dollars, or Japanese yen, or Chinese currency. It's got to be labeled in Naira. That is the standard practice. You don't label items in Naira in UK or in Netherlands where they spend euro, or UK where they spend pounds, or in America where they spend dollars. You don't say this is for this Naira, even if you are a Chinese marketer, so to say. So it's part of the issues that were in contention then. And like you rightly said, and I said ab initio, you cannot put something on nothing. You have to enhance the capacity of the FCCPC in this instance, because obviously the price control mechanism has not been working. It's been instituted long before now. But with the emergence of FCCPC, it has to be made more robust. And that is why people like us in the States are also trying to domesticate the FCCPC opportunity, and that's why you have the Consumer Protection Advocacy Initiative. Of course, we are majorly into advocacy, as it were, and I'm really very happy and delighted that we have Honorable LUKMAN ADELEYE here, who happen to have championed the cause of a consumer advocacy bill, the consumer protection bill in Ogun State. Because if you have FCCPC at the federal and you don't bring it down to the state, closer to the people at the grassroots, then it's not being done appropriately. And that's why every state is lashing onto it. Lagos, Kano, Rivers, or some other states like that. It's not yet 36 states in scope, but we can't afford to be left behind. When you have it domesticated here, I'm very happy that the bill has passed the first, second reading. The public hearing has taken place. We are heading towards a situation where the bill will become an act. And once it becomes an act, we will look forward to something of an Eldorado, because if the people cannot access opportunities of being protected here locally, everybody cannot go to Abuja. Or can look at what FCCPC has done. They raided shop in Abuja. Like Dominic said, they are attempting to go to Lagos and all the rest. FCCPC cannot be everywhere. They cannot protect your interests and my interests at the local level. And that's why we are pushing it out. And I'm really happy that my honorable here has spearheaded something very fantastic. Initially, we were doing it locally on our own. That is CPAI, Abeokuta. Not knowing that we would not be able to push the bill, as it were then. It got a kind of hiccup. And with his own emergence with the bill anew, then we latched onto it, and we thank God for his blessings that it's getting here and there, and it's getting more popular. The thing is, it's not even only the bill, there should be an act. When there is an act, there will be agency. And when you have an agency, the people can approach such an agency that, oh, I have issues here. Because the normal thing with the consumer protection bill is to guarantee value for money, to protect the consumers, not necessarily overprotecting the consumers against the producers. Because the consumers have the opportunity. When you look at what the FCCPC says, it's a federal consumer and competition protection of the consumers and the competition for the producers. Are you getting me? So it engenders competition, healthy rivalry for those who are producing to give us quality products, value for our money. We have to be well informed as consumers to guarantee that what we are buying is truly what we are buying. Not only saying that we want value for money. We have to get enough education. We must have opportunity for redress, where you buy something and you feel shortchanged. But we are not looking at it not only from the producer of products and this thing, we are also looking at services. Service providers, the telecoms providers, electricity providers, even borehole drillers, they are providing you with service. So many other services, banking, where you are charged arbitrarily for things that are not supposed to be charged. So many things under service that you can take to such an agency when it is domesticated and you have an agency to lodge your complaint. And it will be looked at. For us at the Consumer Protection Advocacy Initiative, we are only on the advocacy level. And what he is pushing now is a bill that will manifest into an agency. And once such agency comes into place, it's almost an Eldorado, because it will go as far as the local government level. That is when you can feel the impact of the consumer protection situation on the ground officially. Without that, FCCPC cannot do it alone. And that's why I said whatever FCCPC is saying in terms of you must follow price regulation and this, and like he has expatiated on, is just a resolution that is not binding. It's not binding. If it has to be binding, government must be seen as doing something, or maybe of taking products from the primary producers, like agricultural products, for instance. He was talking about rice, for instance. If government is really serious, they can offtake and have a kind of bulk purchase arrangement. Then, whatever you go there to buy will have been on a regulated price. It's going to be difficult, for instance, for government to say they want to regulate housing. They can only regulate the house the government builds. individual people that build houses will want to tell you this is how much even the price control system that was in place in the Mobolaji Johnson era in Lagos State, I was of age then, did not work. Because landlord will tell you, you might have to go and live in Mobolaji Johnson, the governor of Lagos State there. You might have to go to Mobolaji Johnson house to live and pay the regulated control price. Are you getting me now? So where you have individuals that are involved, you can only make sure that there will be healthy rivalry amongst the providers, producers, such that you will make choices in the course of events. But where it is the way it is now, the government may not be able to control it effectively. But we are coming in place with the help of our honorable here that approves it, that this thing will be domesticated in Ogun State, like other states, to make sure that there will be a kind of checks and balances
and
at the end of the day.
Domesticated, is house rent an exception?
Look, it covers every spectrum. The only thing is that you will not be able to force it. You come out and explain yourself that I have been shortchanged this way. I've been taken for granted this way. If you come in, it's an advocacy and an alternative dispute resolution concept, except where you are not satisfied, that you now move on to the higher level. But by and large, nothing is outside the scope as long as you are a consumer. There might be house rent tribunal at the end of the day by the government, but there will surely be ways of handling things like that when the chips are down.
Now, Honorable, thank God a bill is actually in the offing as regards this. Can you tell us the state of the bill? I mean, he was talking about the fact that it has passed through different readings and public hearing has actually been conducted. What's the stage? And then he also talked about the fact that the bill will lead to creation of more agencies. Some persons are clamoring for scrapping and merging of agencies so as to cut cost of governance. Would that be an hindrance?
Well, it is too many questions put together, packaged in one. I want to thank Mr. ANIMASUN for the elaborate explanation on what we are doing in Ogun State. You see, as a State House of Assembly, we understand the plight of our people, and we look. And let me correct this. Yes, I am the sponsor of the bill, but the bill is a creation of the entire assembly member. You know, you cannot do anything alone. Definitely. In the House of Assembly if you don't have the buy-in of your colleagues. So I want to appreciate my colleagues, led by our Speaker, Right Honorable Ludasi Elemide, for creating a platform for us to do this for our people. Yes, it is consumer protection bill, like Mr. ANIMASUN said. It is not enough for us to be talking about FCCPC. You know, the people in Abuja cannot be, look at when FCCPC law had been made, I think since 2013. Yeah. Until now, we are not even seeing the effect in many states. So what does this tell us? It is simply telling us that we need to have our own law in the state. And so that is why we initiated plan to domesticate FCCPC law. That is by creating the Ogun State Consumer Protection Agency, and to the glory of God, we have done first reading, second reading, we have done public hearing where various stakeholders came on board to come and make an input, because it's a whole lot of things. You know, Ministry of Finance, we have input, Ministry of Environment, we have input, yes. Because at the end of the day, we are also talking about injection of hazardous products into our environment. So that is where Ministry of Environment is involved, Justice, Ministry of Commerce, Trade, and so we have a whole lot of ministries that made a contribution. And as I speak to you, the proposal has gone to the Ministry of Justice for their own input in terms of, like Mr. ANIMASUN posited. You know, we are going to explore the alternative dispute resolution strategy. You know, the law will be emphasizing on that, and then where the board is unable, where parties are not satisfied, they have rights to approach State High Court to enforce their right. And you know, if you are going to do that, you know, the Ministry of Justice will have a lot of input to do, and a pepper grinder can decide to grant a bowl of pepper for 1,000, and another one will just choose to do same for 1,500, 2,000. And you know what they do? Because they are a trade association of pepper grinder, you just discover that the association executive will just go and then stop the other person. In fact, sometimes they will confiscate the grinder. That why are you grinding why are you rendering this service at a price that is far lower than our own? And before you know what is happening, because these trade associations are very powerful, they have the support of the police, they have somebody somewhere that is that is backing them. So you discover that at the end of the day, they are entrenching anti-competition using trade association. This law, when it is finally passed, we fight against this. We are not against right of association as it is enshrined in the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, but at that there is also limitation. You cannot be promoting unfair trade practices or exploitation using your trade association. So these are many other. We are going to do. The law is going to push a lot of consumer enlightenment. We are going to tell them about their right. Like I said, the moment the law is passed, there is going to be a board, which is Consumer Protection Agency, that is going to be constituted by the governor of the state. And then this agency, now answering your question, that why should we encourage creation of more agencies when we are talking about price control? Yes, is it not better we spend a little to curb arbitrary price hiking, unfair sharp practices, selling of hazardous products in our society? Is it not better to spend a little on this rather than being confronted with the menace of all these vices? So the bill would not overbloat the government spending, because we are proposing that, there is going to be inspectorate offices at the 20 local governments of the state, where officers can be drafted from the existing ministry. It can be Ministry of Trade,
Commerce and Industry.
You know, officials will be drafted from this ministry. Trade, on consumerism, they will be made to be acquainted with every section of this act, and they will be deployed to various local governments where they can make sure that this law is adequately implemented. I know by the time the board is put in place, the law is also empowering the board to draw out their own guidelines in accordance with the Ogun State Consumer Law Protection right and that of FCCPC. Whatever guideline they are drawing, it must not work against what we have at the national and the state. So by the time they put this together, you know, consumer will be encouraged to approach them in case they are unfairly treated, in case the marketers exploit them, and then this board will look into their cases.
Yeah, still talking about the agency, because it looks like contradicts the Orosaye submission, so to say, like Dominic was trying to put it. No, not necessarily. Like my powerful minority leader here has just said, you don't create an agency and start employing people all over again. It's the maximal utilization of the already existing workforce that will be done by drafting people from the various ministries and agencies to come into it. Of course, you have OGHA already, you have Ministry of Environment. People can be brought in from Commerce, Industry, Trades and Investment. People can be brought in from the Justice Ministry, from even the Health Ministry, because it covers so a broad spectrum. People represented Health Ministry at the public hearing. where you have to be sure that products that are being shunned out will be healthy. Look at the issue of cholera we experienced in the state in recent time. All these things will be there, that these different heads from the different ministries, experts will be there. Perhaps only the board, even the board, will derive from the NAFDAC, SON, standard organization, the agencies, and then in the existing consumer protection agency. It's not going to be something entirely new. It's an harmonization of already existing capacity that will bring it to fruition. So by and large, I think it's a win-win for Ogun State. We are able to have such a thing here, domesticated, so that we don't look forward to only FCCPC and all the rest. Yes, price control, the government might still have to go further, but because some products, you have to make it available for you to be able to control the price. Because the things that the producers are going through are different from what the government may be thinking in terms of price control. Yes, I emphasized the agricultural products the other time. It is feasible if government can buy from source and sell at a reduced price. They can even have subsidy on it. Subsidy is not a crime. And that is why some people don't seem to understand the situation logically. Outside this country, there are subsidies on so many things. On agriculture, there are heavy subsidies outside in the West. There are subsidies on so many things. So it's not a crime saying it's either we remove subsidy, we put subsidy. It's a standard practice. It is how you utilize the opportunity. It is not the what, but the how that determines the success of such a development. So by and large, I think FCCPC is trying, but I don't see them enforcing arbitrarily people to say you must sell at this price. If FCCPC say they are going to do that on petroleum products, perhaps it's good. But at the same time, if you go into the township now, you realize that some people are buying their products from different sources. Only NNPC have almost a monopoly, and that is why you have the price of NNPC stabilized. Yes. Because the government is backing it up with subsidy, whether we like it or not. That's not the usual discussion here.
So do you think FCCPC is just grandstanding?
No. We are not saying grandstanding. What we are saying is that, you see, FCCPC as a commission, as an entity, has some rights. But what we are saying is that, yes, haven't issued this moratorium, what happens? I think ICPC can implement price control to an extent, especially in the formal sector. But if you look at the country today, like almost 70% of our market is still very informal. So I ask you, how would FCCPC implement price control in the Gari market that is in Shapon? How would FCCPC, make price control with a consumer, with a marketer that sourced its own product within his farm and come up with an analysis that this is what I have expended on cost of production, and this is how much I am selling my product. It will be very difficult. So at the formal sector, yes, it is possible, just like you mentioned, our petroleum products, our communication companies. Look at the madness many of our communication companies are doing. Look at our service providers, DSTV, blah, 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 blah. These are services in formal sectors. FCPC can exercise some control, especially when it comes to arbitrary price hiking, price gauging. So, but what we are saying that going forward, if we really want to empower FCCPC to discharge their duty maximally, we must look into that act again, look at the Absolute Price Control Act, the one that was made by the ministry regime. We put them side by side, just oppose, and because I know in that Price Control Act, there is price system mechanism where ranges are placed, okay, according to the variations in the market. The board will be will preoccupy itself by monitoring the market system and say, okay, for this period, price of X should not exceed this. Price of Y should not exceed this. All this must be put. FCCPC, as it is currently constituted, does not have such power. So I think it is not about grandstanding. What they can do is to protect consumer rights, one, and then control arbitrary price hike, especially within the formal sector. That a consumer A has reported that you are selling at so price. Why is it like that? Because if a filling station should sell a petrol, for instance, at the cost of 1,500 now, and there is a complaint from a consumer, FCCPC, Ogun State Consumer Protection Agency, can investigate that. That, okay, we don't know the landing cost maximally. There is no way we know the cost of transportation. And when you put all this together, it will still, it does not even give you reason to sell at so this, to some extent, can be done. But for informal sector, it will be very. But our own consumer protection law, because we are going to do a lot of advocacy, and that is why I am happy that various advocate groups like the Consumer Protection Initiative, Abeokuta, and the likes are coming on board. They are putting a lot of effort into this, because part of the things we are going to do is to engage all these trade unions.
Now, talking about engaging trade unions, I'm sure many Nigerians hit a huge sigh of relief when they heard the ultimatum given by the FCCPC. But from what both of you have said, it appears
not yet Uhuru.
It's not yet Uhuru. And even from the plans here in Ogun State, what you are doing at your level, in the next 1, 2, 3 months, I'm not sure we are going to have this also on ground. In the interim, what would you actually suggest? Okay. Some persons are actually saying that all of these informal sector that you mentioned, the informal sector, I mean, all of these traders operating in that sector, they have associations.
Yes.
Why isn't the government interfacing with them?
Okay, let me quickly say something concerning petroleum. Whatever it is that FCCPC is doing now, I expect them to have, synergize with some other governmental agencies. There used to be a DPP, Directorate of Petroleum Product Monitoring or something like that. I'm not sure if it is fully existent now. Since we have this crisis, how many stations have FCCPC? We are working in tandem with FCCPC. We are not working in isolation. But how many petroleum stations has FCCPC visited with the Directorate of Petroleum Products Monitoring? I'm not sure I can count 1, 2, 3. These are things that should be done, that are not being feasibly done, that makes it look as if FCCPC is not doing much, that makes it look as if they are grandstanding. They need to synergize. When you go out, people might buy their products from different sources, and it might come up with other logistics to be expensive, the final pump price. But when these agencies visit, they can take a dip. They will know who among these stations have the fuel underground. They will know, because when they look at their way bill and some other books, they will know the amount that product got to the fuel station. They can see the profit margin. They will know if they are hoarding. They will know if they are overpricing. These are things that will or should or must be done. But because we are not getting these things done, it makes it look as if FCCPC is just grandstanding. That is where the problem is. I think with this agency in Ogun State, I can promise you, yes, it looks as if it may take months or so. We'll continue to talk. We'll continue to work at it. We don't want anybody to take laws into his hands. But if we are able to get through at the end of the day, you can be sure that there will be effective monitoring of activities. Just like he said, the police will be involved, the civil defense will be involved, other agencies will be involved, people will go out to monitoring situation. That That is the point we are trying to make here. And we are hopeful that people will come. And that's the proviso here now. Having been in the consumer protection advocacy, we've seen cases. We bought airtime on radio. We've seen cases where people will complain, oh, I bought this product, it appears overdated, it appears faulty. There was even a case, about 2 cases in different radio stations that we had this program, that people bought tin milk that had gone bad. And they complained. We asked them to bring the something over so that we can look at the case. Maybe tomorrow. That is the problem we have with our people. They will say, oh,
and that is where the advocacy and enlightenment comes in.
You need to come forward. We cannot come into your house. If you make a complaint, come forward. And you sit down. We look at it. We get in touch with the marketer or the provider or the producer. We look at what happened. Was it an adulterated product? What have you been doing to guide against adulteration? What's your channel of distribution? And how have you been following up? It's not enough to just send your products to the market. You must follow up on a controlled system.
So
to make sure
the
factor of the people, the human factor of those who are buyers and receivers of services is also very crucial. If you are not coming forward to lodge your complaint and allow us to do follow up, or you get I don't have time to come. And it's the same thing with the political situation. You vote people into office, you just fold your arms and say, oh, let them do their things. You wait till the next election. It's not done. You have to follow up. Because it's your power.
You've delved into, what Standard Organization of Nigeria would also do, and left or us side, you would have felt, okay, maybe we should just marry FCCPC.
No. You don't get this. They are different. FCCPC, no, they are not similar. You see, this is predominantly consumerism. It's about consumerism, FCCPC, and whatever we are having in Ogun State, protection the right of consumers. Now, talking about this board, if you look at this bill as it is being proposed very well, we are saying this board is not about, we are not just bringing every Tom, Dick and Harry to come and start drawing salary from the state government. No, we are saying in this board there is going to be representatives of SOM, so that in the SOM is a subset of this law, will be a subset, so that when we need information that has to do with Standard Organization of Nigeria, they'll be readily available. There's going to be representatives of MAN, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, in case there is a complaint against a product. So through MAN, we will be able to reach out to that company. There is going to be representative of chambers of commerce, and so on, so forth. There will be security agents, there will be NAFDAC. So it is not that the FCCPC bill is trying to carry out the function of NAFDAC. No, we are saying let all these bodies come together in one and protect the interest of consumers against sharp practices, unfair trade treatment, arbitrary price hike, and the likes. So, however, let me say this. All these are good, but that does not preclude the fact that as a government, we need to do more if truly we really want to tackle the problem of maybe food scarcity or sovereign price of goods and services. Beyond all this, we are just putting all this in place that, okay, even the little more we have, we must not allow people to take undue advantage of it. Now, that does not preclude the fact that government must come to the basis and look into the cost of production. As we must enhance food security by helping the people.
As we custom, we have highlighted some of the reasons why we have high costs in commodities, subsidy removal, exchange rate.
Yes.
But we also hear producers talk about multiple taxation.
Yes.
Is there anything we can do about this?
Yes, I'm happy at what the federal government is doing now. I am aware there is a tax reformation going on. I'm sure the committee is almost done with their work, and I'm sure they have even submitted to the president. Very soon we should be looking at a lot of tax incentive, especially for some of our producers. So I am aware of this. For instance, you see people selling perishable goods. When they are bringing their goods from the farm, sometimes they come across 6, 7, 8, 10 checkpoints. You know, different arbitrary tax collectors.
Illegal tax collectors.
Illegal ones. So as a government too, these are the things there must be consolidated tax system. And I'm sure the federal government is already leading the path. After when this document is out, the state wouldn't have choice than to follow suit.
Mr. ANIMASUN, very shortly, as we run off, a bit of theory now. Some would say capitalism is largely exploitative, and when there's inflation like this, capitalists will want to take advantage of that and earn more.
Look, no system is entirely foolproof. Be it socialism, be it communism, be it capitalism, and all the rest. What we are asking for is a welfare state. A welfare state where it is a matter of give and take. It's not something that will be unduly exploitative. Give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and let the people get what they deserve in terms of dividends of governance. I won't say dividends of democracy, I would say dividends of governance. The thing is, if the government, like Minority Leader Honorable LUKMAN ADELEYE just said, if the government is able to make effective inputs, there will be effective regulation of the existing systems. And if that is done, nobody will be exploited. Look at what we are talking about: consumer protection and effective, healthy competition amongst the producers. Okay. So at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everybody. The government will do its part, the people will do their part, the agencies of governance will do their part, and everybody smiles. That is the point.
Well, we all do our parts. Many thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for honoring our invitation to talk about this price control mechanism, and they've been able to dissect it very well. So, Honorable LUKMAN ADELEYE, Minority Leader, Ogun State House of Assembly, thanks for coming. And
thanks for hosting.
Your legislative
thanks for hosting us.
And Mr. ANIMASUN, Director, Advocacy, Consumer Protection and Advocacy Initiative, CPAI. Thanks for coming.
Nice being here with you again.
We have to go.
Yes, we also thank you, our viewer, for watching from 8 o'clock when we began up to this moment when we are signing off. We thank you so much for watching. New Dawn will be back again on Wednesday. By God's grace, enjoy the rest of your day.